Hey guys, it's Arx here and welcome back to my channel. We are back with another Epomaker Switch review, and it's been a while since we last covered their switches. And this is the first time for me as we'll be reviewing a semi-silent linear switches, and this is the Comte Switches, and I'm very much excited for you guys to hear the sound test. Now, a quick background about the switches. This was inspired from a kind of cheese, and Epomaker wanted to make the switches that's neither too loud or too quiet. The switches comes in pre-factory lubed, and they claim that it can have a self-lubrication when being typed, meaning to say the more you use them, the more it'll get smoother. So let's see. By the way, the switches was sent for review by Epomaker, but I wasn't paid to make the video, so of course I give you guys my honest and unbiased opinion about the switch. A quick material breakdown. This is a 5-pin switch using nylon on the top and bottom housing, and of course palm on the stems. Now the springs, its bottoming out is around 55 grams. So in today's video, it's going to be our usual reviews, a stock versus lube comparison, a sound comparison versus other linear switches, and if you want to hear my thoughts and opinion about the switch, please do stick around at the end of the sound test, or feel free to check the timestamps. And speaking of the sound test, let me give you guys a quick disclaimer before we start. That the sound and experience will vary depending on your keyboard build, meaning to say that it will sound and feel different depending on your board. We'll be using, of course, the Vega 65 with the polycarbonate plates, a plate foam, and no case foam. Switches as pre-factory lube, and the keycaps that was used was a PBT set. So with all of that out of the way, please do enjoy the sound test on the Comte semi-silent linear switches. And that was the sound test for the Comte Switches. If you made it up to this point, I would like to say thanks for staying. And please do let me know on what you think about the switches on the comment section down below, and let's have some quick discussions. So now let's talk about my thoughts and opinion about the Switch. Now let's talk about my thoughts on the feel. On stock, as expected, it was really smooth. Their stock pre-factory lube don't miss, and I can say that you can use them out of the box without worrying about lubing. The switches didn't have the plastic raw feeling when typing, as well as I didn't feel any spring and leaf crunch. Typing on them is somewhat satisfying, like it has that soft typing experience, and it's like I'm typing on a pillow or a marshmallow. Like it's so soft that you'd feel the bottom out right away, and it just bounces back. So it's really something new for me in terms of a linear feel. But I must say that the switches feels a bit light, and if I remember correctly, it has a 38 gram actuation force. So to some people who are used to mid to heavy actuations may find this a little too light. I tried them for almost a week now and I still find them light, so it might take some time to get used to it. But nonetheless, the switches are really smooth and has that unique typing experience. Now moving on to my thoughts on the sound. On stock, just like the previous switches that we tried, the pre-factory lube on this, it just sounds really consistent. It didn't have that plastic sound to it, and I didn't hear any spring ping and even leaf crunch. I can say that you can really use them out of the box as they sound really smooth on stock. So for the sound of the switches, I can say that it's not that silent, and it has that subtle mushy sound that you get on a silent switch, but at the same time you can hear that clacky and poppy with a little bit of a deep tone to it. I can say at times, yes, it does sound like a normal linear switch, but there are also times that I can really notice that hint of a silent switch, especially on the spacebar. It just sounds satisfying when I'm hitting the spacebar. I can say that they are true to the description, semi-silent switches, and it's a new experience to me, and I can say that they sound decent, but kind of would require a taste or a preference, if I may add. Overall, the switches are really smooth out of the box. I really had fun using them for almost 2 weeks now, and it was a nice and new experience to me in terms of a linear switch, and I would say that they are worth it if you are looking for some new linears to try, and especially if you haven't tried a semi-silent switch. As mentioned, it's not that silent and you can still hear that clack on your linear switch. I would say if you are on the fence, you can get a hold like one box first and try it out before committing and getting a full build. And that is it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed another Epomaker Switch review, and I really hope you find it helpful. If you do, please don't forget to hit the like button as it helps out my channel grow. And what's next? Well, we still have the Monstergeek M2 and some new Akku switches here and a lot more switches, so please stay tuned for that. And again, don't forget to like the video, share if you want, and of course, subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys on the next Soundtest. Peace.